Welcome to the Horror Hangout podcast, where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. Today's episode is a bonus episode, chatting all about a documentary about the life and legacy of the UK's most iconic horror illustrator. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by director Chris Collier to discuss Captured Souls in conversation with Graham Humphreys. Welcome to the show, Chris. Hello.
Thanks, Ben. Really, really pleased that you could speak to me. Great.
You're welcome. Great to have you on the show. It's been a while. We wanted to kind of chat to Graham and yourself for a little while about this podcast because we did see it at Fright Fest last year and
Mhm.
we had a great time with it.
Good. Yeah, it's good to hear. It
Yeah.
was it was a great screening, wasn't it? It was that's such a beautiful screen that the
Mm.
screen that the Discovery in that. Yeah.
Yeah, it is great, and it felt like such a great screen, like a love-in of everybody who appreciates Graham and his work. It just felt really good. The vibes were great.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
it was it was awesome, wasn't it? How was the experience for you?
Yeah, it was a great night. I mean, there was a certain amount of nervousness in that Graham hadn't seen the film.
Oh, I see. Oh,
And
interesting.
the screening was sold out.
Mm,
Um, So there was a certain amount of orchestration beforehand in where Graham was going to be sat.
of
So,
course.
and I made sure he was sat next to some people who were definitely going to speak to him and explain to him that it was okay afterwards.
I see, I see.
Because, the way that he's presented might be challenging for the person seeing it the first time.
Mm. So whereabouts did you get him sitting? Was he front and center?
No, so we were all at the back, but he was sat next to sort of, I think he had Reese. No, he was supposed to have Reese, but Reese couldn't come. So
Mm,
he had one, but he had Pete Fuller, I think, one of his like really good friends, and his sister sat next to him.
mm.
So yeah,
And and what was his initial reaction to the film? What do you remember the first thing he said to you afterwards?
I think he was really nervous when we went down to speak at the end, and he needed some time to absorb it because
Mm.
I mean, from the first moment when it begins, there's the ums and ahs of him, in between thoughts. And I don't think he realized it was going to be as personal as it was.
Sure. I suppose it's not very often you get to see like a documentary made about your life, so it must be a
Mm.
very intense situation. Like you really are under the microscope in that sense, aren't you?
Yeah. And I mean, he's seen it. Because we've been playing it around cinemas, I think he's probably seen it 3 or 4 times now, and he's kind of got used to it. And the last screening, he understood why it was made like that.
Mm. Yeah, of
Mm.
course. Let me just give our listeners some details on the documentary. It's told in Graham Humphrey's own words, and through a series of intimate conversations, Captured Souls talks about a career that has defined horror for generations. The film charts a vivid timeline through banned video sleeves, goth clubs, iconic posters, and the rediscovery of a lost original. And yeah, it was the world premiere at Fright Fest, and recently there was a screening at the Prince Charles, and that was when you guys announced the Blu-ray as well, wasn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
a lovely surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a surprise as well. So hence it was kind of rushed out, sort of, okay, well, let's announce it at the Prince Charles because
Mm,
we're going to be there. It's a great screening. It was a really busy screening, and it was such a great audience. There's, when you cut something together and you sit with it, you think, okay, people will laugh at this bit, and people will, and sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. And depending on the screening, they don't in some and they don't do in the others. This kind of hit all the beats. The audience were really, really up for it. And I mean, yeah, it was a great screening. Obviously, we got Reese and Kathy come and do the Q&A. So
mm.
it's a great night.
Great night, and
Mm,
that's such an iconic place as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Really sorry, Chris. I'm gonna have to very quickly take a pause because, as often
That's right.
happens, resuming.
Mhm.
Um, okay, Chris. When do you remember when you met Graham for the first time?
I sort of had known him sort of tangentially for a long time.
Mm,
I So I made a film about Fright Fest years ago, and that played at Prince Charles. And I I invited there's a director Alex Shandon who made a film called Inbred,
Mm.
which is a yeah really filthy film. I mean, and
Doesn't
he
sound it.
I know you should see it.
Mm.
Um, the poster's actually in the film, and he I invited him along, and he brought a plus one, and he brought Graham. And after the film, Alex said to me, "Why is Graham not in the film?" And
Oh. Oh, I
at
see.
that, and there wasn't a place. The film's quite quick. It needs to be. It's kind of
Mm.
a genre documentary rather than being like my sort of later films. And there wasn't really a place to put Graham. It's too much.
Mm.
But it did go in, and I was like, kind of goes on the list, of
Yeah.
subjects. Graham goes on the list. Um, and then 2 or 3 years later, I was doing some art installations. So we make I work with a guy called Billy Chainsaw, and we've made these cut ups of that you could play once because they were made out of other people's stuff. So there's
Okay.
bits of the witch and all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Okay.
And they're pretty psychedelic kind of cut-ups that would play at a gallery in London. And Graham came to one and came up and spoke to me afterwards about it. And that's kind of where you start to get a sense of what he's like.
Mm.
So he didn't need to come and talk to me. He's
No.
like Graham Humphreys.
Sure.
And I've spoken to lots of sort of people who've made shorts that all of a sudden out of the blue, Graham's come and spoken to them.
Mm.
It kind of is, well, you know what it's like to talk to him. He's like open to talk to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I properly met him at like the horse hospital or somewhere at one of the exhibitions.
And
Mm.
how did the idea for the documentary come about? Because tell me if this is correct. This is my memory of the story that was told at the Fright Fest screening. You were working on something else, and that maybe kind of fell through, and then was that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the poster in the middle behind me
Mm.
is the film that I was just finishing, and I'd had a as we were getting close to finishing, there was a few last bits to shoot. I got appendicitis. It was bad. Nearly died. Ended up in hospital,
Oh my
and I
God.
had to take some time off. And so, as I recovered, I couldn't shoot the last bits for them. So I started to write a film about Clive Barker,
Oh wow.
which
Okay.
is sat in those boxes there.
Oh, I see.
Um, and I was determined I was going to start the film straight away. As soon as this one was done, I'm going to start on that. And sometimes you just can't get something started.
Mm.
And so I get to the point of making that poster, and I know I'm going to make three films that are about the edges of cinema.
Hmm.
Um, and so I contacted Graham, said, "Will you do the poster?" He said, "Yes." I sent him the film. He came back with the poster. And I thought, well, I need another film. Graham's on the list. So I'll just ask him, are you open to, has anybody spoken to you about it? Because you need to make sure nobody else is
I
secretly working
see.
on it.
Yeah.
And he said, well, people have spoken to me, but there's nothing there. So he said, will you give me like a month to come back with something? So I went away and kind of wrote down pretty much everything that you see in the way the film is structured. Came back to him, gave him like a pitch, and he said, okay, let's do it. And then we were going straight away, and I kind of started and then tried. It's an easier film to make without having all the money up front, so I could start and then
Mm.
get the
I
money as
see.
I went.
Was it more of a collaborative thing with Graham, or was every idea that you brought to him kind of something that he was happy to do, or did it kind of change as time went on?
So I I so Graham, yeah, Graham just kind of got told what it was. That was kind of the deal. That's always sort of the deal.
Mm.
Is this is what it's going to be. I'd like you available for this and this. There'll be some things we'll discuss, and then you'll see the film,
Mm.
and you can tell me what you think. But probably just going to be you telling me what you think,
Yeah.
So, and Graham was brilliant, and some of the stuff was uncomfortable, and some of it, and is in the film, and some of it was deliberately uncomfortable, and he really doesn't like talking about the Monster Club poster,
Yeah.
and we spoke about that, which is probably something I wouldn't have done if I'd made less films. It would have been
Yeah. I see
scary
what
to
you
sit
mean.
there and say, I'm going to push him to talk about this,
I guess you
and
wouldn't
push
push.
him to do it in a way that is more uncomfortable.
Mm.
If when you sit and watch it um, my partner was sat next to Andy Nyman, and she said
Yeah.
he was like holding the seat and going, like, it was like, because it's like Graham looks, we hold on it, and Graham looks at me and goes, "Is that all right?" And there's a
Yeah.
big,
Oh
and
God.
that's, I'm just sat there thinking, pause, don't say anything, just leave as
Mm.
long a gap as you can.
Yeah. So it kind of
Um,
bears it all, doesn't it? Really. Yeah.
yeah. And
Mm.
then you get Reece Shearsmith, who talks about that poster and says, whether you like it or not, Graham, this is the poster that, influenced us to,
Yeah.
this is one of the first things we saw of your work.
Yeah. It's crazy how much his art has influenced things, and I think so many people are going to be
Mm.
aware of his work without necessarily knowing it was him who did it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is crazy. And obviously the poster for Captured Souls is uh is great as well. You didn't think about getting anyone else in to do that? I'm joking.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he'd done the previous two, and it
Yeah.
was, and I thought, okay, well, I guess Graham will do
Yeah.
his own poster.
He was
And
like,
he
no,
was,
not available.
yeah. Well, he was really busy,
Yeah, I bet.
and it was like we needed it, and it was, so there was some challenge around how he was going to fit it in. I thought, okay,
You're right
but
in
he
there.
fitted it in.
You understood exactly how much of an in-demand artist he
Yeah.
is and was. So what would you say it is about Graham's life and art in particular that makes him such a great focus for a documentary?
Um, I think those first interactions with him, and how how personable he is.
Mm,
Um, what it's like to work with him as well was another impact. I've give him the film, and that's it, and then he comes back with a poster. Um, and I think the kind of films that I make are films about how people are in the whole of their life,
hmm
and there's a there was an opportunity to tell the story not only of his life but of UK subculture for a period of time through
Yeah,
his life,
yeah.
because he's lived through and worked through
hmm
everything from the Cramps through to the horror stuff that he's working on now. Because there's always something else that the film is really about. I mean, the film before was a film about an old guy who made a list of every film in the world,
Mm,
but it's not really about that at all. It's about a guy worrying about what his legacy is.
sure, sure. Yeah.
So um, Graham's a perfect opportunity to talk about a great artist told through some great work with people who were really there. That
Yeah.
was kind of key. Was that
Yeah,
we're
of
not going to
course.
talk about um, we're not going to talk about the work at. So we're going to talk about Tartan. We're going to talk about it with the guy who ran Tartan.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
talk about somebody's view of Tartan.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, so I guess it just feels so much more legit, doesn't it? It does feel like it captured that time and subculture really well. I guess that was something that maybe I wasn't expecting from the documentary. You kind of go into these things sometimes with a little bit of a idea of what potentially you're going to see, and I like it when it subverts those expectations in a way. Um, how different was the process, would you say, with this and the Fright Fest documentary? Um,
well, the Fright Fest documentary is what I would call a genre documentary. You
mm,
know, before that, I'd made stuff for Arrow, stuff for 101. We made a 45-minute documentary about Necromantic, which is
Oh wow.
on their box set, and I think it's on the Arrow player, and it's there's a structure to it. You know, there's a way that you make those films, and the Fright Fest film does that, and and that's fine for what it
Great
is.
though. I think it was
Um,
one of those films where I think when I was watching it, I was just going, "Oh, it's that person. Oh yeah, I know this person. Oh great." It was almost like yeah, it was a who's who,
yeah,
wasn't it, of everyone involved in Fright Fest over the years.
and I think at that point I made that, and then the film that came after it is it's like you. I realized I wasn't going to make another narrative film, at least not at the moment. I was going to make another documentary, and then you want to do something different. You want to, so you end up going to documentary festivals rather than as many horror festivals, and you
Yeah.
start going, all right, well, there's other stuff and then you start to move away from uh, making a typical genre film. So, and that was kind of key. It was like, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to tell it. It could have been all of those same people, but you cut between them while you tell this story, and you cut between them. There's a way that those films work.
Mm,
So the challenge is, okay, how do we do it by having a taking yourself out of the conversation and letting those conversations happen and kind of directing them from afar.
yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of one of the things. So it was, yeah, very different from the Fright Fest film. I think I was clear about what I wanted to make this time. I think
Sure.
that I found the Fright Fest film was the first feature length documentary I've made, and it was, you know, finding a way through to the end. This one I don't think I had a single sleepless night. Otherwise, I did a bit of editing in my sleep. But the Fright Fest one, I woke up. I'm sure I woke up in tears one night. I
Oh,
thought,
oh no.
there's no film here. I'm never going to finish this. You feel like you've let everyone down.
Mm.
You've shot all this stuff. There's no story here. I'm like, why? How is there a story in this? Eventually, there was.
There was,
I
of
think
course,
there's
there
a
was.
story in there
When you
somewhere.
do a bit of editing in your sleep, you don't wake up and think, "Oh, I've done that edited now. I've dreamt about it. I've done it. I
Well,
don't
the
need to
thing
do."
is, right? You edit stuff that doesn't exist,
Oh yeah, of course.
and it's like a real nightmare. It's like
Yeah.
over and over. You wake up, you go to sleep. Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine the process. Obviously, with the Graham Humphreys documentary, I had input from Reece Shearsmith, Andy Nyman, Alan Jones, and more, and obviously people from Graham's life as well. What was it
Mm.
like selecting everybody who was going to be involved in that?
It was that bit was relatively straightforward. So we selected 12 pictures. We
Oh, of
didn't
course,
use
yeah.
all of them. And then it was about finding the people we could talk to. And there was some stuff we didn't use. We were going to talk about the Lords of the New Church with regards to the goth stuff, and we were going to talk to Brian um, Jones, who unfortunately died um, during the making of the film, so
Oh,
we
okay.
couldn't do that
Mm.
um, because, yeah, once again, halfway through this film, I ended up in hospital. So I'm hoping that next time I'll get through one unscathed.
Fingers
So that
crossed, Chris.
delayed
Fingers
things.
crossed.
But so we didn't do that. But other than that, everybody else was kind of,
Mm,
we got everybody we wanted, and they were all really receptive. Um, yeah.
that's great. And
Mm.
so let's talk about the recently announced limited edition Blu-ray.
Mm.
Pre-orders are available now.
Yeah.
So the best place, 24 Foot Square website to pre-order
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can get to that, yeah, 24footsquare.com or 24fsq.com. It's
Mm.
easier to type.
Oh yeah. Much
Yeah,
letters.
we'd said 2,000. There's only going to be 1,000 of the Graham Humphreys one.
Oh my God. Even more limited edition. Add that to the
Um, and
description there.
and then it's going to be a standard release after that. So if
Yeah.
you want the extra stuff, you need to go now. And I wouldn't wait, because like we gave out leaflets at the
Mm.
PCC, and it's like I couldn't believe how fast they're going. So
Physical
that's really great.
media is alive and well. Everybody's snapping them up. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get myself a copy because I did really enjoy it. What kind of bits and bobs are they going to be on the Blu-ray in terms of
So
extras?
there's some extended conversations that happened that there just wasn't a place for in the film. Um, you've got people like Madeline Smith, with first-hand stories about Vincent
Mm,
Price, and
wow.
um, yeah, and some little extra bits of gold from Andy. Although it was very hard to cut anything out of what he said.
Yeah, I
Um,
bet.
but yeah, so there's some really good stuff. The Fright Fest one has got some really good deleted stuff in it, which we was like hell, going back into like firing the discs up.
Oh no.
Going, and there's that because that film had, I mean, there's hundreds of hours of footage,
Wow.
and you're trying to get it to work, and link all the files back up, look at the film, and go, okay, did I make this? And then
I don't
and
remember
then
this
you
at all.
go in and find these little bits of, because we shot 6 hours with most people.
Mm. Oh wow. Oh my God. 6 hours.
And yeah, so there's, yeah, we we've cut, yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
there's
yeah.
only little bits, but yeah, some really good little bits of that. And yeah, and obviously there's Graham's work, and reversible sleeve and that kind of
Oh
thing.
wow. Amazing. Um,
Yeah,
am I right in thinking that there's an offer buying both of the Blu-rays together
yeah,
to get
yeah,
10% off?
yeah, that's right. If you go to the website, there's a little code on the website, and you can get 10% off if you buy both.
Absolutely. We'll put that in the show notes so everybody knows where to get hold of both of these Blu-rays. Um, the information I haven't got in front of me is when the actual release date is.
So at the moment, it's right at the start. The Fright Fest one, I believe, is at the start of July. Might be before that. The Captured Souls is, I think, the first week in August. However, that is only because of the cinema rights and the streaming rights. If
Oh,
that
I
comes
see.
together
Okay.
quicker, we will put them out as fast as we can.
Sure, sure.
So we're just waiting to confirm if the last theatrical dates. That's like a safety net. That's like the latest you're going to get it.
Okay,
We
okay.
would like to do it. Could be even a couple of months earlier.
Sure, sure. Can we talk anything else about streaming or the other screenings at all? Is there any information you
So we
can?
definitely got a screening in Newcastle on the Friday night, the 8th of May.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really nice cinema, Tyneside cinema. Um, we got one in Wales, which we're just trying to confirm, so I won't say where that is. We really want to put one together in Bristol. There's probably one in the middle of the country as well, but
Mm.
again, it's kind of waiting on where these fit in, and trying them to tie together in a way that I can get Graham there as well, because
Yeah.
I think me and Graham being there is just kind
Mm.
of, having Graham there is really important.
Yeah. And I guess you got to get
Mm,
one in and around the southwest where Graham obviously is from as well.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
And streaming, it's just trying to find the right place. There's a number of places we could go. We will do that, but we'll do that last of all.
Yeah, of course.
Mm,
We will, of course, keep our audiences up to speed with all of this information. We've been sharing stuff about the documentary as well. Um,
Appreciate it.
what is next for you then, Chris? What's next on the slate? Anything you can share with us at all, or is it all in the
So
process?
I'm still trying to get a film about Clive Barker started,
Mm.
which it comes and goes. It looks like it's going, and then it's not. So we'll see. There's some technicalities to that, but and I kept it quiet for a long time, and then I'd had the start of what looked like was going to be it. So I kind of started to talk about it. So I
Mm.
will continue to talk about it until it either
Absolutely.
gets made or it doesn't. At the same time, I'm working on a film about cricket.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's the response I always get.
Okay, slightly different, but
It's a little tilt of the head. Really?
really a bit
Yeah,
cricket.
so
Yeah.
it's about sports psychology cricket. It's quite a dark film, and that's coming together.
A
That
doc
will
a,
go
a documentary.
soon. Yeah.
A documentary as well. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
trying to wrap my brains of if I've ever seen a cricket documentary. I'm sure there are plenty out there, but
Yeah, there's a few out there. And there was a yeah, there was a really good one called Death of a Gentleman a few years ago. It was made by a couple
Mm.
of journalists. That was that was quite good. But yeah, there's not a great deal out there.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there we go. That's one for the cricket fans out there, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, it's good. I guess it's good that you do. You like to keep your work varied like that in terms of the focus that you're looking at? Do you like to switch it up?
that will be the first documentary that I've made that is not about film.
Mm.
So it's there's been a few on the list, and they're before the Fright Fest film, I was making one about Arthur Brown from the Crazy World of Arthur Brown,
Mm.
which we got part of the way through, and then it just fell apart, and
Oh, I see.
and which kind of happens sometimes,
Yeah.
and I ended up making the Fright Fest film out of accident, an accident, I accidentally pitched it to him.
Oh no! Whoops! I've pitched a film again.
So yeah, I ended up making that instead. But that was a music doc. But yeah,
Oh
they've
wow!
all been
Okay.
about films, and obviously the DVD extras are always about film.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Amazing. Well, look forward to
yeah,
whatever you're working on next, Chris. Obviously, we'll put links in the show notes to everything. Is there anyone anywhere in particular you would direct our audiences to keep up to speed with you and also documentary? I guess 24 foot square on any social media. Uh,
yeah, yeah. I've got one. I'm 52, so it's hard to remember
oh
how.
yeah,
I've got an Instagram that I sometimes put things on. Right,
yeah,
so Chris Collier underscore UK.
yeah. That's right.
There's a very famous Chris Collier in America who I think he's the
Is there?
he's a music producer.
How dare he? Is he?
I know it's
He's got the.
outrageous. He's got the name.
He's got the name. Ah.
Yeah, and he's entitled to it.
Yours
He's
frustrating.
like,
I do hate it though when someone else has got your name and then you look at their Instagram, never post anything. I go, well, you
yeah,
should
I don't know if he does.
give it up. You should give it
Mm,
up.
mm,
Yeah, we'll link everything in the show notes as well in your Instagram, 24 foot square Instagram.
mm.
Looking forward to if there's a Bristol screening, I'd absolutely love to attend. Um,
That'd be great.
even a Wales one actually, I can get to Wales.
Yeah.
But when those details come out, obviously that'd be great.
Mm.
Brilliant. So thank you very much for joining us, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat about the Captured Souls documentary. Looking forward to seeing it again, and from the comfort of my own home with all of the bells and whistles of the extras as well. But thanks everybody else for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron at patreon.com/horror hangout and keep up to speed with everything else at horrorhangout.co.uk. Thanks a lot, Chris. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.